We all want to win our fantasy football league this year, so in today's video, I will be helping you guys by putting the wide receivers in the 8 different categories: best of the best, league winner, top 10, high upside, average, risky, trade away, and cut. So we're going to be putting wide receivers in each of these tiers, starting off with the best of the best tier. We have the top receivers in the league. There's no arguing that these guys not only start every week, but should be your wide receiver 1 every week as well. We have CeeDee Lamb, Tyreek Hill, Amon-Ra St. Brown, and Justin Jefferson is in this tier as well. Obviously, CeeDee Lamb has Dak Prescott at quarterback. He's going to be fine. He's improved every year since he came to the league. He's not obviously going to improve every year for the rest of his career, but do expect him to be a top receiver in the league. Tyreek Hill, now Tua did get hurt. Don't be concerned. Tyreek Hill can still run the ball, and the Dolphins are probably picking up Ryan Tannehill to be a quarterback on the Dolphins. And I think with Ryan, Tyreek can still produce at a high level. Amon-Ra St. Brown is in one of the top offenses in the league. You shouldn't be scared about Amon-Ra St. Brown at all. He's still a top 5 receiver, and that's why he's in the best of the best tier. And then I have Justin Jefferson in this tier as well. I think Jay Jettis is still a guy that should be a wide receiver 1 on any team. I think he has number 1 potential. I don't know if he's going to hit it because of the quarterback situation. You obviously don't have J.J. McCarthy, but I think Justin Jefferson should be fine. I didn't put Ja'Marr Chase on this tier because I am a bit concerned about Joe Burrow, and I am a bit concerned about how healthy Ja'Marr Chase really is. So I don't think he will be on the best of the best tier, but he could be. You obviously should start him every week, but I'm not going to put him on this level. I think these 4 guys are on a level of their own. We're going to skip around a little bit. We're going to go to average. These couple guys I'm going to go through are average receivers that you could probably manage to play, but are not going to win you a league. I'm going to go Amari Cooper is going to be in this tier. Keenan Allen is going to be in the tier. Michael Pittman is going to be in this tier. And then Terry McLaurin. I will explain my reasoning for all of these guys. Starting off with Terry McLaurin, Jaden Daniels, I think he's better than any other quarterback Terry has had. But at the end of the day, he's still a rookie. We have to give this offense time to develop. Maybe at the end of the year, it'll look better. But for now, I feel like Terry McLaurin is an average receiver. He's not going to make your team worse, but he's not going to win you a league. Michael Pittman Jr., he doesn't score a lot of touchdowns, which is scary. And I don't think he's going to be as productive as years past with Anthony Richardson. I think Richardson's going to run the ball a lot. A lot of carries go to Taylor. I think Alec Pierce will get the ball a lot. So I just don't see Michael Pittman being as productive. Keenan Allen, a lot of weapons on the Bears. We did see 1 game out of Caleb so far, and it did not look too pretty. I think the offense will improve throughout the year, but I still think Keenan Allen is just a okay receiver. He's not going to make the team worse. He's not going to win you a league. And then Amari Cooper, Deshaun Watson did not look good at all against the Cowboys. I'd be almost scared of Amari Cooper. I'm not going to put him in risky because he's super consistent. But I do think that he is not a wide receiver 1. He's at best a mid to low end wide receiver 2. Maybe a flex, depending on what type of league you are in. I want to go to high upside now. 4 guys that I believe have some high upside if they can produce properly. I'm going to go Jaden Reed. I'm also going to go with Xavier Worthy. I believe that's Xavier Worthy. And 2 more guys I want to put in this tier are Ladd McConkey. And I'm also going to go with Keon Coleman. These are the 4 guys that I believe if they are at a high level, then they can produce a lot. Starting off with Keon Coleman, Josh Allen, top quarterback in the league. He's going to get you a lot of points if the ball goes to him a lot. Ladd McConkey, receiver for the Chargers. Chargers don't really have a lot of good receiver depth, so I think Ladd McConkey is going to be a top guy on this offense. Xavier Worthy, extremely fast, is going to get some carries probably, like he did in week 1 against the Ravens, and he can obviously get that itty or touchdown on any play. And then Jayden Reed, he looked great against the Eagles on a slippery field against a good team, so expect Jayden Reed to continue to produce at a high level. We're going to go to cut. These next 4 guys should not be on your roster. They might have a good game once in a while, but I still believe that they shouldn't be on your roster. We are cutting Rashad Bateman. Goodbye, Rashad. We are also cutting Elijah Moore. Goodbye, Elijah Moore. We're cutting Brandin Cooks. And we are cutting Darius Slayton. Darius Slayton, I do not hear of anymore. I don't think he's going to be productive on the New York offense. And besides, Malik Neighbors is going to get more targets. Devin Singletary is going to get the ball more. Darius Slayton, not a high receiver on a bad offense equals not being productive. And I also want to throw in Quentin Johnston in this tier. If you still have him on your roster, please get rid of him. He's not going to be good. Trust me. Brandin Cooks, he's a wide receiver 2 on a pass-heavy offense, which looks good on paper, but I am avoiding Brandin Cooks. CeeDee Lamb gets the ball like 80% of the time. It feels like. Obviously that's not fully true, but I'm still avoiding Brandin Cooks. I would rather give that roster spot to someone like Christian Watson or Alec Pierce, who could be more explosive in any game situation. Brandin Cooks is just not going to help your team at all do anything. Elijah Moore, if I think Amari Cooper is going to be average, I think the next wide receiver on the Browns is going to be even worse. I'm avoiding this Cleveland team besides Nick Chubb. I have him on my PUP. He's on the PUP, but I have him sitting on my bench right now until he comes back from injury. I hope that pays out well. But Elijah Moore, I'm avoiding. I do not think Deshaun Watson is going to get the ball out very well to any of these Cleveland receivers. And Rashad Bateman. Zay Flowers got bulk of the targets in that week 1 game. Rashad Bateman had a couple good plays, but I just don't think he's going to continue to produce like he did in that Kansas City game. I would avoid Rashad Bateman, cut him, get a guy like Ladd McConkey on your team if he's still in free agency. He might be on like an 8-man, or if it's a 10-man, drop him for Jordan Mason if Jordan Mason's still out there. Maybe Jameson Williams might be out there. I don't know. Find someone that can be more productive than Rashad Bateman. I'm going to go into top 10. These guys are top 10 receivers, and you should always have them on your roster. Or at least, if you have them on your roster, you should always play them. Mike Evans is in this tier. Going to put Cooper Kupp up here as well. I'm going to put Jamar Chase in the top 10 tier. I'm going to put A.J. Brown in the top 10 tier. A.J. Brown I considered for best of the best, but it said that those 4 guys are the top 4. But A.J., Jamar, Cooper, and Mike Evans, they all really don't need explanation. They're proven wide receiver 1s that get tons of passes to them. Especially Cooper Kupp in week 1, got 14 catches. With Puka out for a few weeks, Cooper Kupp is going to be a really solid pick if you drafted him. Mike Evans always gets 1,000 yards. Feels like always gets 10 touchdowns. Very safe guy there. Jamar Chase, like I said, not best of the best, but he still was a high-end wide receiver 1, and he should always be playing on your team. And then A.J. Brown, like I talked about earlier, he was considered for best of best. I didn't put him there, but start A.J. Brown every week. We know that. I'm going to go to risky. These next four guys are risky players. You can start them if you want, but they might not turn out so well. We have George Pickens in this tier. We have Adam Thielen in this tier. I'm going to put DJ Moore in the tier. Hear me out on that one. And for my final risky receiver, I have Jordan Addison. Jordan Addison, risky quarterback situation. We know Justin Jefferson is Justin Jefferson. I don't know how a guy like Jordan Addison is going to produce in a bad quarterback situation. We'll see. DJ Moore, I mean, I put him in risky more or less just there's weeks where he's not going to have a lot of points. He still should be a guy you start almost every week. But it's a little bit different compared to someone like Adam Thielen, who probably shouldn't start most of the weeks. But, I mean, he's a possible starter. Bad quarterback situation with Bryce Young. Doesn't look good in Carolina. I would avoid Adam Thielen. But he's very consistent. He had 1,000 yards last year, so you can't count him out. You can't cut him yet, because he always could have those good games. And then George Pickens. Russell Wilson and Justin Fields don't impress me, so it's risky there with the quarterback situation. But he is the wide receiver one. He still should be a guy that starts most weeks, at least as like a wide receiver two. Trade away. These are guys that I am not high on, and you should get them whilst they are at a high value. I have Jalen Waddle in this tier. I'm also going to put Malik Neighbors. I'm going to put Marvin Harrison Jr. and DeAndre Hopkins. Now, Marvin Harrison Jr. and Malik Neighbors, they're both rookies. They could both entirely prove me wrong. But until I see it, I still would rather have a guy like Cooper Kupp. If you could trade Cooper Kupp for Marvin Harrison Jr., I would accept that trade. Or if you could do something like Brandon Ayuk for Marvin Harrison Jr., I would accept that trade. I'm not high on Marvin Harrison Jr. like a lot of people are. I think he's going to be a really good NFL receiver. But right now, it's his rookie year. I'm not expecting over 1,100 yards. So, if I were you, I would trade Marvin Harrison Jr., test the market, and if you can get a lot in return, I'm accepting that trade. Malik Neighbors, same thing, but worse quarterback situation. The talent is obviously there. We've seen it, but I'm avoiding Malik Neighbors. I had 3 drafts so far, and I avoided him in all of them. I'd rather a guy like Nico Collins in the second round. I would maybe even take a guy like Devontae Smith over him. Just proven guys with better quarterback situations is what you want in fantasy football. And Jalen Waddle, with the Tua injury, I'm not too concerned about Tyreek Hill. But Jalen Waddle, as a wide receiver too, it's hard to produce with a backup quarterback. And Devon Achane is going to get a lot of carries now that Tua is hurt. So, those 4 guys, can't forget about DeAndre Hopkins. I think Will Levis is talented, but I don't think it's going to be his year this year. I would avoid the Titans receivers because Tyler Boyd, Calvin Ridley, and DeAndre Hopkins are all really solid receivers. It's just there's too many weapons in Tennessee for you to really focus on one. So see what you could get for DeAndre Hopkins. I don't know if someone would do like Chris Godwin for him. Just see what you can get, and if you can get some good value in return, I would trade away DeAndre Hopkins. Like, if you could get Xavier Worthy or Jaden Reed or maybe Keon Coleman, something like that, I would probably accept that trade for DeAndre Hopkins. Final tier, league winner. I think these guys are going to win some people some leagues, so let's get into it. We have Nico Collins in the tier, Rashee Rice. I'm going to put Zay Flowers in this tier. And then my final guy, a little bit underrated here, we're going to go Alec Pierce. Now, I didn't go with, CeeDee Lamb or Amon-Ra is going to win you a league. Because that's a little bit too easy. So I went with a little bit more obscure receivers. Still really good, obviously, but guys that aren't top 5, top 10 at the position, like Alec Pierce, who was explosive in week 1 against the Texans. I think Anthony Richardson is probably going to focus Alec Pierce a little bit more than Michael Pittman, but that's just my opinion. You obviously have that deep ball on Anthony Richardson, and I think Alec Pierce is going to be the guy that gets most of those big plays, and that could turn out really well for you. Zay Flowers, he was by far the Ravens wide receiver 1, besides Isaiah Likely in week 1. I wouldn't be scared about not the best production out of the targets, because the Chiefs are the hardest team on the schedule for the Ravens. It's only going to get easier from here, and I think Zay Flowers is going to continue to level up and win people some leagues. Rashee Rice, he looked really good week 1 against the Ravens. I am putting my stock in the Rashee Rice. I think he's going to be really good this season. I don't think the suspension is this season either, so you don't have to worry about that. Rashee Rice, definitely a guy I'm putting stock into. And then finally, Nico Collins. I knew that he was going to be the Texans wide receiver 1 over Stefon Diggs, and I think he still is. After week 1, Diggs did get 2 touchdowns, but Nico Collins getting similar production just shows that he's going to get a lot more targets. He's way more consistent than Stefon Diggs, and he's also a guy that I believe is going to win people some leagues this year. But these are my wide receiver tiers. If you guys want to see this again, let me know with a different position maybe. Thank you guys so much for watching. I'll see you guys on the next one. Make sure to drop a like, subscribe. Peace.